Dr. Xen'thara's 4 eyes widened in disbelief as she stared at the microscopic readout. The human specimen, a young female named Sarah Chen, who had volunteered for the Galactic medical exchange, sat calmly on the examination table, completely unaware that her blood was rewriting everything the Confederation knew about biological systems. "This cannot be correct," Xen'thara muttered, her chitinous fingers dancing across the holographic interface. She had analyzed blood samples from over 300 different species, across 47 star systems. None had ever exhibited behavior like this. The human red blood cells weren't just carrying oxygen. They were communicating. Each cell contained what appeared to be organic nanotechnology, so sophisticated it made the Confederation's most advanced medical nanobots look like primitive tools. The cells were sharing information, coordinating responses, and adapting in real time to microscopic threats that Xen'thara's instruments could barely detect. "Doctor," Sarah asked, noticing the alien's distress, "is everything all right?" "Your blood," Xen'thara began, struggling to find words in standard Galactic. "It demonstrates characteristics that should be impossible in naturally evolved organisms." She pulled up a 3-dimensional projection of Sarah's bloodstream. Even as they watched, white blood cells were morphing their structure, creating specialized hunter-killer variants that targeted a microscopic contaminant from Xen'thara's equipment, a contaminant so small, most species' immune systems would never even detect it. "I don't understand," Sarah said, leaning forward to examine the swirling hologram. "Watch." Xen'thara introduced a synthetic pathogen into the blood sample, a military-grade bioweapon that could devastate entire populations of most known species. The human blood's response was immediate and terrifying in its efficiency. The red blood cells began clustering around the pathogen, not just attacking it, but analyzing its structure. Within minutes, they had developed 3 different countermeasures and were mass-producing antibodies with a precision that matched the Confederation's most advanced medical laboratories. "By the void," Xen'thara whispered, "your blood is teaching itself." Word of the discovery spread through the medical station like wildfire. Within hours, Dr. Kretal from the hegemony arrived, followed by a delegation of researchers from the core worlds. They brought increasingly sophisticated challenges: toxins, viruses, even nanoscale mechanical threats. Every single test yielded the same impossible result. Human blood didn't just adapt, it evolved in real time. The cells communicated through quantum-level interactions that shouldn't exist in biological systems. They shared successful adaptations instantly, across the entire circulatory system. Most remarkably, they seemed to anticipate threats, developing countermeasures for attacks that hadn't even been deployed yet. "This changes everything," Dr. Kretal said, his tentacles trembling with excitement. "Humans aren't just another spacefaring species. They re-living weapons platforms." Sarah shifted uncomfortably. "I'm just a teacher from Earth. I grade papers and help kids learn about ancient history." "You're walking proof," Xen'thara explained, "that humans evolved under conditions so hostile. Your blood became an autonomous defense network. Every cell in your body is essentially a microscopic artificial intelligence. But it's completely natural." The implications were staggering. Human blood could theoretically adapt to any environment, counter any biological weapon, and even interface with technology in ways that bordered on the supernatural. It explains so much: why humans recovered from injuries that would kill other species, why they adapted to alien environments so quickly, why their immune systems were legendarily robust. As the research team continued their analysis, Sarah sat quietly, processing the revelation. She thought about her grandmother, who had survived 3 different plagues that swept through old Earth. Her brother, who had walked away from a hovercar crash that should have been fatal. her own remarkable recovery from what the doctors had called an impossible illness during her childhood. "So," she finally said, "when do I get to learn how to control it?" The room fell silent. In that moment, every researcher present realized they weren't just studying an interesting biological anomaly. They were witnessing the next stage of human evolution, and perhaps the beginning of something that would reshape the galaxy itself.